Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, Paul, Flatzoid, Chocolate Saiyan, Arwin, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of people on Discord. Very good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello. We're going to do something slightly differently today, so I'm going to get members of the panel. Let's just check we can hear people in Discord. Can everyone in Discord hear us?
Yes.
Good. We're going to get, hopefully, a volunteer, if anybody's going to do so, to run through the housekeeping questions. Go ahead, I don't mind.
Is there any evidence of curvature?
No.
Earth base.
Well, I
right?
saw a lady this morning, and she had some pretty nice curves.
Earth-based curvature. Always.
Oh.
Because she's a lady.
Well, she might become the world to me. Does that still count?
No.
Okay.
Anybody in Discord got any evidence of curve?
Exactly.
Earth curve?
Exactly. So, anybody in Discord? Any rebuttals to that? Or any evidence of Earth curve? Oh, alrighty then. Go ahead, Anthony. Or anybody else?
I was going to say, if I do them all, that means I'm increasing the risks of being challenged. So I think somebody else, 10th man, what's the next question that we ask?
Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth base variety, Arwin?
But
Anybody
what if
in
somebody
Discord?
is the world
Yeah,
to you?
why is
Could
that
you
directed at
not make
Arwin?
them as an
Anybody.
example?
Anybody at all.
Yeah, that's for everybody. But I was-
Discord.
Okay. Maybe Arwin, you'd like to ask any scientific evidence of gravity?
Oh, I discussed it very elaborately today. No. It's one of the things about gravity that is specifically absent. It's so funny, isn't it?
You're
Right.
supposed to ask a question, Arwin.
Well, there's so many indications about gravity that you can presuppose, but the one thing that doesn't really fit in there is, well, that there's actually no physical evidence of it, no real scientific evidence.
Right, who wants to ask the next one?
Is there any signs of the R value?
The what?
Right, let's just see if we can get some hellos from people in Discord.
R.
Hello,
R.
Dawn. Can you hear us?
I think some of these guys are listening on YouTube.
Oh, I see. That's well. Then they don't need to be in the live stream Discord room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's only 2 gaps left, so 2 more people join. I'm going to start kicking people out of the Discord server if they're not going to talk to us. It's just there so that people can join and talk.
Yeah, go and watch it in YouTube with all the other normies.
Right, exactly. Literally not a word from Discord so far.
Hello, guys. Sorry. I thought I was still muted.
All right, Dawn. Good to have you. JQ, how you doing? Can you hear us, JQ?
Limit of 10 people now in Discord.
Yeah. As many as I like in the after stream, but in the live stream section, i.e. the bit that goes out to the live stream, I just want people that are going to talk as opposed to people who are sitting around. I'm going to kick people who don't talk to the after show room. There we go. Jumped into the after show of his own volition. Okay, who wants to ask another housekeeping question? We've only got a couple more, 3 more.
Any evidence of a gas pressure without a container?
Nope. Violation of the second law of thermodynamics.
Anybody in Discord got any evidence of gas pressure without a container?
Not personally, no, not unless I use the whole of our reality.
The whole of our reality.
Your reality.
It's not really evidence I can present on a plate.
Begging the question, though, isn't it? Really, you're begging the question that there is no container, but we know that there needs to be a container to have gas pressure.
Yeah, I'm going with the theory that we don't need a container, and then I'll show evidence that air disappears as we go up, and eventually there is none.
But we can show what happens if we have gas pressure in a container and then we apply a vacuum to it. We can demonstrate that it removes the gas from the container, and you can't have gas without gas pressure without a container. We can demonstrate that. Have you seen Dr. John Dee's most recent video?
No, is that his actual name, John Dee? Because John Dee used to be an occultist.
I don't know. It's just a moccasin. It's like Dawn Treader's. I don't think Dawn Treader's your real name, though, right?
Oh, no, I was just pointing out that John Dee used to be a famous magician occultist that used to scry into an obsidian black crystal ball.
Okay, well, I don't know if it's his real name or not. I just know his moccasin is Dr. John Dee.
But I know the evidence and the experiments on Earth show that we need a container for gas pressure.
Well, do you know what he does, Dawn? He gets a nice big bell jar, fills it with smoke from tissue that he burns, and then he evacuates the bell jar with a vacuum. And what do you know? All the gas pressure that was in there in the form of smoke was removed. In fact, it's that good. It's that good.
The argument is the atmosphere isn't gas pressure. That's, it's a different situation. That's the argument.
What do you mean?
Well, yes, you're right about gas pressure needing a container on Earth in the experiments we do, but the atmosphere isn't the same as gas pressure, and we have gravity and a planet involved, so it's a different type of experiment, different situation.
But you can't prove that there's a planet involved and there's gravity involved, can you? And we know that gravity is not a force.
I can't prove these things now.
So it's a belief.
Yeah, that's the argument against that housekeeping question.
I'm sorry, I didn't see an argument against that housekeeping question.
There wasn't one.
The evidence, you are in the evidence. You have to look all around you, go up in the sky and check stuff.
Dawn, you said the atmosphere is different from gas pressure?
Yeah.
What is the atmosphere made out of?
Wait a minute, I'd like to ask Dawn a question.
Water. Matter.
Fluid is a better word.
Right.
I'm not an expert.
Gas is a better word.
Thank you.
It's made out of gas. Okay? Not fluid is a better word. It's made out of gas and gases. Okay?
Hang on, John. I need to explain, John. It was a relative state because he said water was the atmosphere, and it clearly isn't water.
It would be more accurately water vapor, but that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for gas.
I was just trying to get him back on track a little bit because. So anyway, the point is, atmosphere is still gas, Dawn, right?
Yeah, I think it falls under the category of gas.
Yeah, and you're saying it's different because there's a planet and gravity involved, but we know that there's no gravity involved because it's not a force, and we're questioning whether there's even a planet, and you can't prove that there is a planet. So we're saying until you can prove that there's a planet, then it's not a planet. So in that context, given that your 2 points require evidence, and you know that you can't prove it, And the question then becomes, how is it any different?
Well, I can't prove that there's a planet, or I can prove there's a phenomenon called gravity involved. Well, I can give evidence, not prove.
Define gravity.
Evidence is proof.
You guys already know these things. You know there's no
evidence
planet involved.
is
You know there's
proof.
no force involved. So let's move on to the next.
Hello. Evidence is proof. For goodness sake.
Evidence is proof.
Can you define gravity for us?
Sorry, evidence is proof now. We're going to conflate the two
No,
words
it's always been that way.
Oh, I'll look that up later, John. Maybe I'll start using both words. I don't mind.
You'll look it up. Yeah, go look it up.
So
okay, so I can prove that there's a phenomenon called gravity.
You can't. What's the definition for gravity? What kind of gravity are you talking about?
Really?
Just the phenomenon of appearance of force, attraction to Earth.
So we're not having a definition for gravity then, no?
It's my own definition.
Your own definition?
Yeah, just the appearance of a force and obvious mass being attracted to the ground.
All right, let's not have your own definition. Can we have the definition by current science for gravity, please?
Oh, we can't get lost in that. That's a rabbit hole.
At least you realise that it's a rabbit hole.
So anyway, I feel I've got evidence for the gas pressure thing, but you guys don't. So we can move on to the next house.
You got a feeling of evidence, do you?
I feel there is evidence there to be seen.
Man, it feels so evident, you know.
I think when you live in the evidence, it's quite hard to say there is no evidence.
You've got a religious belief as well, because you believe that there's a force there that's holding the atmosphere down, even though you're told there's no force, but you still believe that there's one, right?
You guys could send something up and check for the container, couldn't you, and prove it? But
no, we already been over this before, Don.
Yes.
My word.
They've got a few of the
So
newbies in Discord.
Question.
Ferris Wolf and people. Are you going to say hello? Hold on, just 1 second. Is it Ferris Wolf? Can you hear us?
Fenris. Yeah, I wasn't able to come off mute, so.
Fenris Wolf. Good to have you. Has anyone else joined?
Yeah, good to be here.
Pretty much. We've got a couple more housekeeping questions if anyone wants to rattle them out. I want to have a bit of mercy on Dawn.
We'll just pass Dawn's comment off that he hasn't got any evidence of gas pressure without a container, but he does believe it.
I think it's there to be found, but I can't present it right now properly in the way that you want.
There so to be found.
No, you haven't got any.
That's called an argument from ignorance.
Okay.
So we haven't got any, have we, Dawn? Can we move on?
Yep.
We've got the sun.
Any evidence of a molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Yes.
Indeed.
I have proof that there is molten iron core, and it dates back to 1991. So I'll present it to you now, and I want Dawn to tell me whether or not he accepts this standard of proof. Are you there, Dawn?
He is, but he's not going to see them, is he? Because he's in Discord. So.
Dawn, can you open up the live stream?
Don't forget to mute it.
Don't wait on me, man. I'm just here to join you.
So, Dawn, on screen now, I've got one of my primary school books from 1990 to 1991. And I was about 11 years old, I think, roughly, around this time, give or take. And on Friday, the 27th of September, we did something in my primary school, and it was entitled The Earth. And I've drew out this picture, and it's a cross-section of the Earth. And you can clearly see it's spherical in shape, and there's a core, and an outer core, and a mantle, and a crust. And it says the Earth is like a huge ball or a sphere. It's made up of layers of rock. The first layer of rock is called the crust, and it is from 6 kilometers to 60 kilometers thick. We live on this. Beneath the crust is a layer called the mantle. It's nearly 3,000 kilometers thick. Near the top of the mantle, some of the rocks are so hot they have melted and become liquid. It is like hot toffee. Beneath this layer is the outer core. It is also probably made of liquid or molten iron, and is also probably about 2,000 kilometers thick. At the very center is the core itself. It is solid and made of iron and nickel. And my teacher wrote, excellent, 20 out of 20. This is absolute proof that we have a molten iron core in the center of a presupposed sphere Earth. Dawn, would you agree with me? This is an acceptable standard of proof to prove the point.
No, of course not.
No, I believe it. I believe we live on a sphere because this is the best proof I got from 1991 and I did it myself.
This is your book?
Yeah. One of my old school books. Let me turn the page and I'll show you. So on the next page, I've got, this is volcanoes. This is how volcanoes work.
Leaving some of the plate stuff, I think we can prove that there's moving plates and volcanoes, obviously. But no, I don't think you can prove that iron core. It's a theory. It's a hypothesis from other information, isn't it?
But I got 20 out of 20 and an excellent mark, so it must be true, right?
That's shading, though.
Check this out. We did an experiment. We did an experiment.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. You
This
know
is
what?
fantastic. What are you talking about?
Let me just do this. Okay, there you go. Go on, Anthony.
This is fantastic. We did a test on paper aeroplanes and to see how designs changed and altered the performance of paper aeroplanes. And there's more science in here than Bob the Science Guy gives us, because we've got a list here. I've got a picture of my plane and I've got an apparatus used so that we can basically, it's a piece of paper and scissors. And this is more than what Bob the Science Guy can ever give us. We did the investigation, then we did the results. And then what I found out was that a paper plane flies because of air going over and below the plane keeps the plane airborne. The design's improved the plane's performance. This is more science than what Bob the Science Guy gives us. Yeah, check this out. This is the sun. The sun is a star, not a planet, as some people think. The sun is at the center of our solar system, and the sun keeps the planets in its orbits. The sun is made up of gases. And then I've got a massive cross-section of the sun, and this is dead real, this. And get this, right? Let me go over the next page. I've got an experiment that we did with refraction on the 5th of September, and it's entitled, Can Light Rays Bend? So we've got apparatus used, we've got the investigation, we've got over the page, we've got what happened, and then we've got a title that says what I found out. So I zoom in a bit more, and it says, get this done, and look at the mark I got. Very good work. It says, light travels in straight lines, Dawn. It doesn't say light travels in bendy lines. And we see objects because light is scattered off them and into our eyes. This lets us see objects as they really are. Water bends light rays, and this allows us to see around corners, apparently. This is called refraction. There's more science in primary school teaching than there is from any of the ballers. This is proper science, isn't it, Dawn? Oh, and then I got 50 lines for forgetting to bring my materials to lessons.
I would give that a 9 out of 10.
You're not talking to Dawn.
I would give that a 9 out of 10, though, Riley, because technically it's not the water that bends the light. It is the change of the density of the or the medium transfer.
Yeah, applying Snell's law.
Right.
But notice that it didn't say that light. Did you notice that it didn't say light travels in curvy bendy curvy bendy ways? And I got an excellent comment underneath. So obviously light travels in straight lines. It doesn't follow a curved path the way we're told by you morons.
What about the distance to the sun then?
No
Can't even prove that the sun's tangible or physical, Nathan.
I'm asking you. You're the one with the apparent proof based on cartoon sketches.
Hey, they were double shaded with outlines. They look fantastic. I impressed myself when I opened them and read them.
Okay, it's not scientific evidence.
The best I got, though, it's what I was taught in school, so it must be true.
Right, well, that concludes the housekeeping.
Yeah, naff all evidence of anything, just beliefs.
Stuff.
Shout out to Slick and his beliefs that he doesn't have.
Shout out to Colin Turner for hitting the super chat before the show even began. Thank you very much for your support.
So, where do we go?
Anybody miss
Why are
Slick?
you late today, Nathan? What's going on?
Going to look at a shed.
Pardon?
Going to look at a shed.
Oh, you didn't like the car?
I can't afford a good car, so there'll all be sheds. Smash the super chat.
So, oh, by the way, Quantum Eraser, are you there?
Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
Some bloke by the name of Bob the No Science Guy claims that he's proven that you've dishonestly lied and misrepresented some citations. I haven't watched the video. It's on his channel. I asked him for a timestamp in his 17-minute video for where the evidence was, and he couldn't give me one because he said, go and watch the video and learn something. So it's a very loose assertion that you've lied, but just wanted to let you know that this Bob the No Science Guy, the guy that won't admit the independent variable needs to be wiggled in an experiment to prove the cause and effect. He's calling you out, John. He's claiming that you've lied and dishonestly misrepresented something on one of your citations. So it's probably worth a conversation at some point, but I just wanted to let you know that you've been, quote, called out.
Yeah, I'm quivering in my boots right now. We already toe tagged the moron twice, so go watch those, Bob.
Maybe we should toe tag him a third time just because he's cheeky enough to try and damage limitate his own wounds. I mean, the guy's a moron. He doesn't understand basic science, but projects his dishonesty onto us by claiming that it's actually us that doesn't understand it with our own citation, with our own interpretations that are actually based on citations from your science. Somehow he claims that they're our interpretations. Nah. So the guy's an idiot.
Yeah, he's already, like I said, he's already been toe tagged, I think, twice. So go watch those.
Well, I think we should have a rum and coke night, and we'll just sit down and go through his 17-minute video, and we'll laugh at all the false statements of fact that he puts in his videos to try and present a bad light on us, or in this case, you.
Hey, a shout out to the playlist of toe tags. It's quite entertaining to go through them and listen to the playlist.
It's embarrassing if you're on their side, though, but they just completely ignore it and they think it's okay to lie to people. And we're like, hang on a sec, guys. We're pointing out that you guys are literally deceiving the world, literally doing it. And we're trying to correct things by pointing out that you're getting your science wrong. Embarrassing, Bob.
Hey, where can people find that playlist, Nathan?
On the Nathan Oakley channel. It's called FED Toe Tag. Or just search.
I've just realised I wanted to share this on the show yesterday, but I didn't get a chance. There's two definitions of gravity. There's the Newtonian principles that were replaced and superseded or debunked by Einstein in 1915. You know that process that the ballers completely and utterly ignore. You also have Einsteinian principles for gravitation, being the curvature or the bending of space-time, the fabric of space-time. If you were looking for a credible citation from, say, NASA, and they were conflating the two systems to make them sound like they were the one system, and they were clearly conflating them, would you think that NASA were either trolling or just wrong? And would you accept the citation to be anything other than fallacious if they were conflating the two systems as one in one article, like as though they were one? Because I would. And what I'm going to do, if I can, is present what I was presented by some idiot baller who claims that gravity is actually a force. He's found a citation where something credible indicates that gravity is actually a force. So what I'm going to do, Nathan, if you don't mind, I'll screen share again.
Anthony, are you trying to get your 10,000 words out?
Pardon?
Are you trying to get your 10,000 words out?
Maybe. So here we go. Now tell me, is this double speak? Is this conflating terms or what? Now, if you're going to talk about Newton's principles, you're going to talk about forces. If you're going to talk about Einstein's, you're going to say that they're not forces. It's the curvature of space-time, right? This citation is from NASA. It's actually a NASA citation, nasa.gov, right? What is gravity? Look what he puts. What is gravity? Gravity is the force by which a planet or other body draws objects towards its center. The force of gravity keeps all of the planets in orbit around the sun. Well, we know that gravity is not a force, so clearly this first paragraph's wrong. I mean, they're applying Newtonian principles. Does anybody disagree that this is Newtonian application?
Einsteinian gravity is not a force. So yeah.
They're applying Newtonian principles, right? Now, don't forget, this was replaced in 1915 by Albert's stuff, right? But get this, it says, what else does gravity do? Why do you land on the ground when you jump up instead of floating off into space? Why do things fall down when you throw them or drop them? The answer is gravity, an invisible force that pulls objects towards each other. Earth's gravity is what keeps you on the ground and keeps things, what makes things fall. But then they do this depiction of the bending and the curvature of the fabric of space. And I'm thinking that this is misleading people with conflating the two systems to make it sound as though it's legit. Then it says, an animation of gravity at work. Albert Einstein described gravity as a curve in space that wraps around an object, such as a star or a planet. If another object is nearby, it is pulled into the curve. So it's literally talking about the two separate systems as though it's gravity. And we know that one replaced the other. And they shouldn't be talking about it like this. It should be contrasting Newtonian principles of gravity being a force, because we know that Albert replaced it. But it's talking about them as though it's the same thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Riley. We know that it was replaced. A lot of people walking around out there that have no idea there's more than one type of gravity, or that gravity is even in contention. So that's what it is. That's why there's no detail in this nonsense. They just say it's an invisible force, and then they give you a little schematic of bendy space-time to make it seem like, oh, yeah, okay, we got that. We got that, so we're good.
And the other thing I want to point out is that these ballers now, they're admitting or they're accepting that gravity is not a force, right? But what they're doing is countering it with, well, it's not a force, it's an apparent force. It's a fictitious force, so it still does something. And I'm like, really? So what demonstrations can you give me where a fictitious or an apparent force can cause something? And they come up with, well, when you go in your car and you brake heavily, you get thrown to the front of your car, but there's no force there. That's an apparent force. But get this, right? In the context of tides and in the context of the atmosphere being held to the ball by some kind of force that's not a force, look what it says. A fictitious force, also called a pseudo force or an inertial force, is an apparent force that acts on all masses. So it's indicating that it's doing something, right? Whose motion is described using a non-inertial frame of reference, such as a rotating reference frame. Examples are the forces that act on passengers in an accelerating or braking automobile, and that force pushes objects towards the edge of the centrifugal rim, towards the rim of a centrifuge, right? That's the example they give, but look at what it then says. The fictitious force is due to an object's inertia when the reference frame does not move inertially, and thus begins to accelerate relative to the free object. Now, in the context of tides and stopping the atmosphere from bursting off into space, how did they get around this bit? The fictitious force thus does not arise from any physical interaction between the two objects, but rather from an acceleration of a non-inertial frame of reference itself. Basically, how are they going to get tides explained on their model if the fictitious force does not arise from any physical interaction between objects? Because if gravity is a fictitious force with no physical interaction between the objects, then you guys can't explain tides or gas pressure bursting off into space.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I ain't even going to say anything.
Don't live on a model. What's gravity?
Yeah. What's gravity, right? Gravity, even if it did exist at 100% full force, Einstein versus Newton, it has not anything to do with entropy whatsoever. For the maybe 587th time.
So if anybody can explain this to us dumb flat earthers, I'd like to know how are tides caused on your model if there's no physical interaction between the two objects? It literally says it. The fictitious force does not arise from a physical interaction between the two objects. What's causing tides on your model if it's not this?
I've got a question. Why do you want to know this?
I like to beg the question with them. I know. I'm sorry. I'm not as bad as Spurs, though. I don't put my arm around them. I kind of hold the knife to the throat and say, give me the evidence that supports this assertion. Spurs just says, it's okay, we can be friends. Let's all play Kumbaya.
Okay.
Maybe somebody in Discord will like to debate you on that, Anthony, or one-on-one.
I don't want to debate on this one. I just want the evidence that explains, or I want a diagram. I want Rumpus to come on and draw us a diagram, or Conspiracy Cats to draw us a diagram on how they're going to hold, how tides are caused by the moon if there's no physical interaction between the two objects. Because we're told that gravitation from the moon is what causes tides. Well, if there's no physical interaction between the two objects, you're not having tides. So how does that work?
Yeah. Do you want to know?
Yeah.
Oh,
Come on, Brendan, tell us.
Do you
Luigi.
truly want to know?
Shout out to
Yeah,
Chow
of
Yun
course.
Cat for the super chat. Says unbelievable. Thank you very much for your support.
Hey, Nathan, do we want this
Right.
Brenda versus Anthony?
Yeah. Go ahead,
Versus?
Brenda.
So,
It's not a versus thing. I don't think of it as a versus. I'll try to explain it to you as the best I can.
Okay,
That's
I'm
all.
listening.
Yeah.
claim.
The
So hold on
tides,
a
like
second,
any
Brenda.
other phenomenon
Claim.
caused
Hold
by
on a
gravity.
second, Brenda. Brenda. Claim support. Claim support.
I said
And
it's
give them
not
a
a.
chance
It's
to
not
rebut.
I'm not approaching this as a competition. I'm just-
I
we're
didn't
just
say it's a
talking.
competition. I said claim support. One claim support. Shut up
Yeah,
for rebuttal.
we're just
okay?
talking. We're just
Go.
talking, and I'm just
I'm
explaining.
telling you how it's
That's
going.
all.
Well, all right, let's just
So,
have the
the
explanation
question-
first.
Wait. I'm
So
curious. So they're trying to set
Look.
Brenda
Everyone's
and Riley
rumpusing.
up.
Look, Chocolate. Just Brenda. Just Anthony.
Yeah.
So what's the question?
If gravity
The
is
question
not a
is-
force,
Gravity.
let me ask it so it's clear.
Is
Let
a
me get it
force.
out, Brenda. If gravity is not a force, but you guys say it's an apparent force, by definition, according to your citation on Wikipedia, it says that the fictitious force does not arise from any physical interaction between the two objects, in this case, the moon and the waters on Earth. So if the moon is supposed to be causing tides, but it's subject to a fictitious force that doesn't have any interaction between the two objects, then how is the moon actually causing tides on your model?
Because the moon is distorting space-time.
It's not a force, though.
Hold
You can
on.
distort space-time.
Hold
Well,
on,
yeah,
Anthony.
I didn't say it
Hold on.
was. I said
Hold on. So claim, then support. Your claim. Moon distorts conceptual medium. Support for your claim, please,
the
Brenda.
mass of the moon distorts space-time.
That's the same as the claim. Support
Yeah, that's
for
what
your
I
claim.
said. I'm repeating it.
Sorry, Brenda. When I say support for your claim, I don't mean a repetition of the claim itself. What do you have to support the claim that the moon bends a conceptual medium?
I'm not catching everything that you say because words are being dropped out. But what do I have to support the claim that mass distorts space-time? Is that the question?
Yes.
Oh, there's been literally thousands of experiments since Einstein proposed his theory of relativity that have confirmed experimentally the predictions made by the theory of relativity.
Brenda, let me rephrase it.
Hold on, Anthony.
Theory of relativity is
I
another
don't
theory,
want her to
Brenda.
just claim that she's got support from thousands of things that she doesn't actually cite. So, okay,
Yeah.
do you want to cite those, I'll quote you, thousands of experiments, please?
Well, one of them was the observation made in the early 19th century, early 20th century. I'm sorry, that the star behind the sun, the light from that star, was bent according to the math to predictions of general relativity. So they made an observation of a star behind the sun and coming around the edge during an eclipse that was bent the precise amount as predicted by the theory of relativity.
What?
Anthony, go ahead.
A star during an
Arwen,
eclipse?
hold on.
Arwen, it's Anthony and Brenda.
All right, so Brenda, I'm going to make two statements that I'm going to assert, according to your model, are contradictory. And if they're not, I want you to correct me. Okay? The first statement from Wikipedia in regards to fictitious forces is cited as, quote, "The fictitious force thus does not arise from any physical interaction between the two objects. In the context of the tides
that's
being
correct.
caused by..." Yeah, okay. But in the context of the tides being caused by the moon, I'm going to ask you, does this second statement contradict or support it? The second statement is the citation when I search for what causes tides on Google. It says tides are caused by the gravitational interaction between the Earth and the moon. Now, if there's a gravitational interaction between the Earth and the moon, but gravity is not a physical interaction between the two objects, that appears to be contradictory. Would you agree?
It might be, unless you understood that gravity is actually a consequence of the mass of the two objects, in this case, the Earth and the moon. The mass interacts in such a way that it distorts space-time, right?
You
So
stole that
the
from
mass-
me this morning,
mass-
Brandon.
Arwen.
The mass of the Earth distorts space-time, and so does the mass of the moon.
But
And
there's
then
no
there's an
by definition,
interaction.
Brenda. Brenda, by definition, according to apparent forces, there is no physical interaction between the two objects. There is no interaction.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
So how can the moon be having a gravitational interaction between the Earth and the moon then if you can't have one in it with a fictitious force?
Because they're both close to each other and they're both distorting space-time. Right?
Brenda, it
so
says
the Earth
listen,
without
Brenda, it
the
says
moon,
Hold on, Anthony. If it's just
Anthony, the Earth without the moon creates a gravity well, right? But the moon also creates a gravity well. And so you put them two together and you get a more complicated shape. And that shape conforms to the laws that Newton wrote in such a way you could describe it as a force. Anyway, the math still works in such a way that objects like the ocean are still affected by the distortion in space-time caused by the mass of the moon.
Brenda, let me re-ask the question because I'm not satisfied that you answered the question that I asked. Okay. The definition of a fictitious force, according to your model, says that it does not arise from any physical interaction between the two objects. But when you look at the definition for what's causing tides, it says that the tides are caused by the gravitational interaction between the Earth and the moon. But the previous citation says it does not arise from any physical interaction between the objects. So it seems to be contradictory.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm asking you, do you agree that it seems to be contradictory, or do you think that they support each other?
Well, that's not an actual contradiction because we understand the gravity to be a distortion in space-time, right?
Right.
Okay,
You're not answering my question.
Hold on. I just want to read out the two citations again, so it's a third party reading them. So I'll read out the first. The fictitious force thus does not arise from any physical interaction between two objects. And that's from where? Anthony?
Wikipedia for fictitious forces.
Yeah, and
hold on,
that is
another,
correct. That is correct, and I accept that.
Okay, next, the description for fictitious force. Is that right?
No, the description for what causes tides on Google.
Oh, okay. So, tides are caused by the gravitational interaction between Earth and the Moon. So those two things are in complete contradiction to one another.
No, they're not There's no contradiction there.
How so?
So let me try to explain it to you this way. Imagine you have a really, really fat person on a trampoline. That person's standing there. And then you have another person, like say a little kid who's not as big. Right? If the little kid is far away from the big person on the trampoline, they won't be affected by the bump, the well, the gravitational well in the trampoline caused by the big person. But if they get closer, the little person will be affected, and the little person will affect the shape of how that big person distorts the trampoline. The big person distorts the trampoline, the little person distorts the trampoline. Put them close together and they both distort the trampoline in a different way. And that
respectfully.
and the
Hold on,
description of
Anthony.
how that's distorted can be described by Newton's laws of gravitation.
Brenda, respectfully, the definition that you seem to be contradicting states that tides are caused by the gravitational interaction between the Earth and the Moon. Now, if it's saying that there's a gravitational interaction between the Earth and the Moon, but the fictitious force definition says that there is no physical interaction between the Earth and the Moon, then either you're describing something that's not consistent with the cause of tides, or the fictitious force is debunking you. It's one or the other.
No, it's not a contradiction.
It is. You're saying that there's no interaction, but the definition on Wikipedia or on Google, when you type in what causes tides, describes an interaction. So is there an interaction or is there not?
What the problem, you're conceiving of the first description of a force as the Earth reaching out and affecting objects near it. It doesn't do that, right?
But it says in the definition that
space-time all around it.
Carry on, Brenda.
What?
I was telling Anthony to stop interrupting you.
Right.
Brenda.
So a force
Hold on,
is
happened again because there was a small pause. Just let Brenda get to the end of her statement.
Well, it's hard because for some reason, whenever I come onto your Discord, the beginnings and parts of sentences get dropped whenever I talk to anybody here, and I don't see that on any other Discord.
Well, go fix your equipment because it's only you.
It's not my equipment. It's not my equipment.
It is.
It's how
go
you
fix
have
your
it set
stuff.
up.
Get on with the debate.
It's not really a debate. We're just talking. And I'm trying to explain to Anthony how gravity works. Gravity is not a force, right? But it does conform to Newton's laws about gravity.
No, it doesn't. It conforms to Einstein's, not Newton's.
Einstein's laws are just a completion of Newton's laws.
No, they superseded. They're not a completion. They replaced.
Yeah, but you're just wrong. Einstein's
really?
Do you know what Einstein's laws are?
Sorry, I'm gonna have to answer my phone. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll take over
So
in
the
his
fa-
stead.
Yeah,
I'll take
so-
over
so
in his
quantum-
stead. Hold on a
so
second. I'll
quantum-
take over in his stead. Einstein's laws are a completion of Newton's laws. Einstein never made any scientific laws. Please post Einstein's laws. Go ahead and do it here on live stream.
Yeah, I don't have that up.
Yeah,
for me
so
right
it's a
now.
baseless assertion, and you couldn't be more wrong. You also said space distortion can be explained by Newton. Newton used Euclidean geometry. Space-time is pseudo-Riemannian for space. So how do you explain that little trick? Go ahead and put that in live stream. I want to see these equations.
Yeah, those are math. When the speed of light, right, is in the lower part of Einstein's laws for general relativity. When the speed of light is the speed of an object is significantly less than the speed of light, the laws of general relativity closely approximate the laws of Newton.
Hold on.
I say again.
Hold on, John. Hold on. What
And
he
you know
asked
this. You know
Brenda,
this, John.
Brenda, what he asked you for was Euclidean 3 space being translated into pseudo-Riemannian 4 space. Do you have those equations or not?
Something or not.
I'll repeat it. It seems like even though last time you said you couldn't hear me, you literally repeated verbatim what you were asked for. But there we go. So, the question on the table is, do you have the equations for Euclidean 3-space converting into pseudo-Riemannian 4-space? Yes or no?
Well, John knows this because he quoted his quotations that he cites from include this information. He just leaves that part out.
I'm asking you.
I don't have
them?
any of the equations on me right now.
So no, you don't have anything for your baseless assertion to back that these two are compatible together, that they would be translatable, interchangeable even. You don't have anything to back this. Well, I'll say now, unequivocally, they aren't. They are completely different mathematical structures. Completely different. Not interchangeable. Not converted.
John
I haven't
knows
finished
about
talking. I haven't finished talking, miss. I haven't got anything to back my baseless assertion. Now I'm making a statement. They are different mathematics completely. One is 3-space. The other is 4-space. Different. Not the same.
Well, Einstein's equations for general relativity.
Brenda, we asked you to provide evidence to support your baseless assertion, not for you to babble endlessly. You don't have anything to back your baseless assertion that one is interchangeable with the other, or derived from the other, or anything to do with the other, because they're not. They are entirely different mathematical constructs. 1, pseudo-Riemannian 4-space. 2, Euclidean 3-space. Not the same.
Under the conditions where we're not close to the speed of light, the equations for general relativity reduce to and closely approximate.
I heard you claim the first time we asked you to back it with a citation or evidence or a demonstration of the mathematical compatibility, and you haven't. You don't need to say it slower.
You can look this up yourself.
Oh, I'm asking you, the one who's made the claim, to back and support your claim. Not ask me to back your claim and look it up for you. No. You cannot back your baseless assertion. I'm not going to do a damn thing except point out for the third time that they are entirely different mathematics.
Well, what did I say? When you are at a significant percentage of the speed of light, then there's a great difference between Newton's laws and Einsteinian general relativity. But when you're not, in the normal conditions that we find ourselves in, there you can use Newton's equations in place because we're not traveling at close to the speed of light.
Listen, okay, that's nonsense. You can't support it.
You know this.
You can't support it.
John,
She's just going to keep claiming it. Brenda, we're not just going to hear you keep claiming it 3 more times. We heard the first time when you declared, after giving an example of a bendy trampoline with a fat person on it, that mathematics would be... Why'd you keep interrupting me? Yeah, we heard the claim the first time. Yeah, you don't need to keep repeating it. The bit that's bending in the trampoline itself, right? That's not in Euclidean 3-space. The bit that you're using as the analogy. Why'd you keep interrupting me, Brenda? What's the problem here?
What's the problem? We were just talking. Dude.
Yeah, you just keep interrupting me and closing my gate. That's what keeps happening when you just keep going, yeah. You haven't got anything to say. Shout out to Winnie the Brew Bear, Toe Tag
That's the way normal people talk.
Not on a hangout, because you closed the gate. This isn't a face-to-face conversation. We're not face-to-face. So I'll say it again. The very medium that you're describing with a trampoline, that would be space-time itself that you're using that as an analogy for. You don't need to agree. I'm still in the middle of a breath, Brenda, right? I'm not going to tell you again to shut up. I'm just going to stop you from talking in this conversation because clearly when I explain your nonsense, you interrupt so that the audience can't hear because it's devastating. The very medium, space-time, is the trampoline. That's not in Euclidean 3-space. That's the 4th bit, the space-time bit. Yeah? Not included. Different in mathematical construction. Not the same. Not divisible, not derivable, not the same. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, because you're wrong when you claim that the Euclidean 3-space can be used to calculate something that is completely devoid of something in that mathematics. Okay, Brenda.
Oh, okay. So you're just wrong, because it can be an approximation under the circumstances that we find ourselves in. If we were circling a black hole, or if we were traveling at a significant
no worries. I heard it the
portion of
first 4
speed of
times.
light.
Now show me in Euclidean 3-space where space-time is, please.
No, I don't have to.
Sorry,
just look it
sorry,
up for
Brenda,
yourself.
you've just said you can calculate it using Newton's mathematics. So I'm asking you, where in those mathematics is space-time? Please show it me.
I don't even understand the question.
Yeah, because you're a brain-dead retard. Yeah? We're talking about the 4th bit. Length, breadth, depth, and time. So, you want to tell me where that is in Euclidean 3-space, please?
The point is...
It's not. That's the point. It isn't. That's my point. They're different mathematically. You keep saying one's derivative. Yeah. You can calculate one with the other. You can't. You're wrong.
Yes, you can.
Well, show us then.
No, you look it up. John knows. John knows that what I'm saying is true because...
Okay, no worries. No worries. You're deferring to John. Shut up now. If you want to defer to John, I'll let you. That means you shut up and John will either, as you seem to think, back your claim or not. So we'll go to John as you keep deferring to him. QE, are the two mathematical constructs interchangeable or not?
Obviously not. They're two different geometries. And there's a number of problems here. She said for us to look it up, that's an elephant hurling fallacy. It's not our job to provide support for your claims. You also said Einstein's laws. We don't want to forget about that. Einstein never postulated a law for anything whatsoever. In Einstein's field equations, you can find G and little g. Let me tell you something. Newton's universal law of gravitation, there is no G, big G, or little g. So you're completely off the reservation on all counts. Last point, you used the trampoline, right? And the trampoline bottom, the rubber bottom, was used to analogize space-time. Well, that bottom of that trampoline is physical. It has chemical formula structure, right? Space-time, nothing. So it's a false equivalence fallacy and a reification fallacy. Space-time's a concept. Thanks.
Last but not by no means least, they are physically interacting by means of that physical item, the trampoline. So there is a physical interaction between those two things. The trampoline itself. Shout out to Unicorn Laser Eyes. Put up or shut up, Brenda. Thanks for the super chat.
The trampoline is an analogy.
We know.
Yeah, it's a false analogy. I just told you that. I showed it to you.
What's your evidence that it's a false analogy?
I just explained it. I'm not going to do it again.
He literally just explained it 30 seconds ago. Repeat back what he said.
There's nothing wrong with comparing the distortion of space-time to the distortion of the surface of a trampoline.
Really? You think a conceptual medium is analogous to an actual physical piece of material? No, it's not.
Space-time is an actual physical thing.
No, I understand your claim. You're saying, yes, it's acceptable to use that as an analogy. We know you made it. That's why we're pointing out that it's not acceptable to compare a conceptual medium with a piece of fabric that is actually real. Those two aren't equivalent. They're not analogous. They are entirely different.
Space-time is real.
One is a conceptual medium. Do you know what a concept is? It's not fabric.
Space-time
you can't
isn't
sew a concept.
Space-time is not a concept. It's real.
Show us it, please.
What?
What do you mean, what? Show it to us. I'll show you a trampoline. You show me space-time.
Show me radio waves.
You've just said you can show us space-time. Now show it.
No, show me radio
Not
waves.
no.
Can you show me radio
Not
waves?
no. Your baseless
No, you can't show
assertion
me
fallacy
radio waves,
number
can
2.
you?
Your baseless assertion that you can show it and it is real is incorrect. It's a conceptual medium, not an actual thing. You're not going to show us it. It's not got, as Huey pointed out in his example, it's not got charge, it's not got momentum or spin, it's not got physicality or structure. It's a conceptual medium. For the love of God.
You're just wrong. Space-time is a real physical aspect of the universe.
So show it.
So
show it to us. We heard the first time. We heard the first time. Now we're saying, if it's physical, as you've just declared, then show it us physically.
Show me radio waves.
Don't ask
radio
me to show you something. Right, the question on the table is about space-time. Brenda, the rumpusing little sod, has been asked to show us what she's claimed is physical. She said space-time is part of the physical universe. I've said, show it then if it's physical, and she's demanded that I show her radio waves. No, you show us what you've claimed. Baseless assertion, fallacy-making, ignorant person. You're not going to get away with it, Brenda. Don't just declare that it's physical and real and part of our world. It isn't. It's part of your fundy world, though, isn't it, Brenda? Yeah, we know that. That's why you make these baseless assertions and claim that it's physical with no demonstration at all.
But it was demonstrated in the Eddington experiment with Einstein when they tested general relativity.
Oh, you said experiment. Do we want to continue with this, Nathan, or has she run her course?
It won't be an experiment. That's an absolute guarantee.
Yeah, there won't be. Do you want to? Because she hasn't supported anything she said so far. So it's up to you.
We're just talking, dude.
Okay, I want you to show us space-time.
Yeah, we're over the internet. I can't show you anything.
Right. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you're in live stream.
Pictures.
You post it, I can share it.
Yeah, you can share whatever you like in the live stream and we'll put it up on screen for the audience to see. Simple.
Well, if you're actually interested, you would look into these things.
Oh my God. Yeah, look into a conceptual medium. Look up conceptual, Brenda, and see how far you get with your looking up. And see if conceptual is going to be reified by you fundy zealot. And with that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980 live, then this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, and of course, for commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Also, of course, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching the premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!